Boom. Here we are, guys.
Hello.
¿Cómo estás?
Hello.
Muy bien. Hola. Buenas
Hola.
noches.
Everything okay with you guys?
Yeah.
I see a
Yeah,
lot of. Is it not too hot? Because I think we were just discussing the weather, and we made Juan turn down his air conditioning, and so don't be surprised if you can see him slide off his chair at some point during the chat. It's going to be very
Actually,
hot, I think.
I have quietly on at the moment.
Okay. Well, we
So
don't
if
have.
we are okay, let me know. Otherwise, I melt.
No, you sound good. So it's
Okay,
fine.
good.
You can keep it on. Cool. So where's everybody at? I see Pfirter in his studio and Miguel.
Barcelona.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm in
I'm in my
Porto.
studio.
Porto,
Yeah. Madrid.
Madrid. Okay, nice, cool. So I see Miguel sitting in a really nice studio. What can I see there? You've got a lot of speakers, man. What's
Yes,
up with that?
yes, because I have one system of 5.1 for the work for museums and pieces, films, and other things.
Oh,
Also, I have a pair of Yamahas that I never use because they don't sound really good to me. I also have all GBL sound system. It's from the 17 system, I think. But I have a little pair of speakers that I bought in a cheap shop, and honestly, I use this small speaker a lot.
really? What are they?
Yeah, because when I do a mix or a mastering or something, in the main speakers, everything sounds fine.
Mm.
But especially nowadays, the music will be translated to the cellular phones, laptops, and those machines that don't have a big speaker, they have a little one.
Mm.
And those speakers, let me see.
Oh, they're tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, they're really tiny. Yeah.
That's like half an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they give me a real response about how the people will listen to the music in the small.
In different environments.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very easy to fall in love with music when you are listening in like super huge and professional speakers, right? But not everybody will listen to it like that.
Yeah,
now.
that's the reason, especially about the low end, the bass and the kick and all this sound with really low frequencies. You need to create new frequencies that supply the other ones in the others medias. That are really useful for me. The small ones.
Okay.
Only €5.
Oh, the
You're
best
selling them.
best
Yeah.
€5 ever spent.
Yeah.
That's a good investment, €5. So yeah, I was going to say, because your music sounds really balanced and very well engineered and mixed. So I was always wondering what you were using as monitors, because yeah, it's very detailed. The way you mix is very detailed, very open and transparent and everything.
Yeah, but I miss to do it more blurry, because sometimes I need it.
Right.
Especially in techno. The feeling, the sensation is more. It's not too much open. It's more too concentrated and like a kind of heavy sounds in the center, and like a monolith, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I lost this perspective, and it's part of my sound to sound open, but I wanna sound more close.
I think most people are wondering how to do it the other way around.
Exactly. Everybody wants to sound more open usually.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. Oh, somebody says the JBL 4311. Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Very often during these talks, we talk about gear, and then somebody mentions a particular piece of gear, and then most of the times we're scratching our heads like, so what's the model again? What is it? So it's people are very specific about it, but we all forget sometimes what it's called. So that's cool. So Juan, you're in your studio, or is that your record room? What is it? Where are you?
It's sort of a mix, a studio and DJ setup as well. Yeah.
Right.
I would like to switch my camera, but if I do that, the whole broadcast will fall apart.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So you do all your work there, your preparations of your live sets, and also
I do
making
everything here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like two different setups and two different sound systems. But I also, coming back to what Tadeo was saying, I really like switching monitors as well. I think it's very important to have more than one pair. So I work with the PSI audio, which is I really like, and it's super precise and open and a lot of definition. But I also like to use like much smaller and in a way cheaper speakers to have like a second perspective of how it would sound and translate. Yeah, I think it's the best way to have at least two references. I never had more than two.
Yeah. Yeah. What about headphones? You also use headphones as an extra reference?
I'm not really a friend of using headphones in the studio. I use it sometimes for like reverbs or little details about delays or stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if the same happens to you guys, but when I work on headphones or also in the clubs, like trying to mix on headphones, I feel something of the vibe is a little bit gone. Sometimes it's necessary, but if it's not, I try to avoid it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And Steve.
Yes.
Finally, Steve.
Hi.
How are you, man? Good?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah? Chilling out?
Yeah. It's too hot in Portugal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you in your studio, or are you...
Yeah, home studio, yeah.
Okay. Nice one. Well, can you tell me something about it?
Oh, yeah.
We're not seeing anything in your frame.
No, because this is a small room, I have the gear here and the speakers in the front. Now, in the back, I only have that wall.
Okay.
So I for monitors, I use the QRK. Nothing
yes.
special, but the 6 inches, I think 6 inches,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lot of studio gear, but I have been selling it since there's no gigs. I have sold many stuff, but now I have Supernova and things like that over here, and some decks over there, Blofeld, some Waldo stuff, but.
Blofeld? I've always
Blofeld,
wondered-
yeah.
I've always wondered about that one.
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Do you use it for polyphonic stuff, or for
No,
anything?
more for pads and effects and things like that.
Right.
So
right.
yeah.
It's is it wavetable, or is it a mix?
Yeah, it's wavetable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know, man. I've always had mixed feelings about wavetable.
Really.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something I find very hard to make it sound good. I mean, it's a personal thing, right? It's a personal taste. But how do you use it for? You
For
said
pads.
for pads and stuff.
Yeah,
Yes, but
yeah.
but do you do a lot of treatment to it?
Yeah,
to-
I process a lot my sounds. I use a lot of EQ and reverbs and things like that. So it can change a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. I should do a little shout out to the people watching on YouTube. Hello, everyone watching there. If there's anything you would like to ask us, please feel free to do so. And sometimes we can bring in your comments. I see one right away from Mike H. What's up, Mike? asking Steve if you still have your Moog, or
Yeah,
is that one of the machines you sold?
No, I have the Moog. Yeah, I'm thinking about to buy the new one, not the DFAM one, the one that I can't remember the name. It's just like Model 32, but the last one. It's more like for cards and things like that. Can't remember exactly the name.
No, I know which one you mean, but I don't know the name either.
Yeah, no.
No. Anyway,
Yeah, I will not sell the Moog Model 32. I like it a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. I like it's very warm. I like the warmness of the. I use it for bass. I like it.
Right. That's nice. Oh, the subharmonicon. Is that the one?
Yes,
Yes.
I want to
that's
get
the
that one.
That's
Yeah.
the one. So, there's a fellow Portuguese dude in the comments. Let's say hello to 1,000 Details. You know him?
Hey,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Hey man, he's one of our most active Discord members. He's I don't know where this guy gets the time from. Anyway, so yeah, actually I was interested in what you just said, Miguel, about you said you were teaching for SAE as well.
For the sorry?
You're teaching for
My
SAE.
teaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how does it work? Do people come to your studio?
Yeah, sometimes. Now the people can come here about the COVID topic, but usually I do some teaching in for particular people from the institute, and also sometimes I go to the institute to make some specialization class. No, especially at the end of the course or something like that. And well, I like too much to teach to the people, especially because I think sometimes the people obtain the info about the YouTube clips or a lot of videos that somebody do. Sometimes without all the good information that they need to show to the people, and I have the opinion that the knowledge must be free in any way, and I don't know, perhaps it's because I like to help others to obtain a specific sound or learn to use the synthesizers, learn to use the different scenes about for example, to use the analog synthesizer, the wavetables, the FM, because sometimes the people feel complicated the FM synthesis, but it's not. It's really
Once you teach them, yeah.
Yeah, it's really easy, but you must understand, and I try to help the people to understand what they want, what they need, and what is the way to obtain the result. And yeah, I like to.
Yeah, it's a good thing, man. Pass the knowledge on, man.
Yeah.
I see an interesting thing. Maybe we can all talk about this. Question from Jack. Hey, Jack. Jack would like to know more about creativity rather than gear. And then a specific question is, what helps you create tension? How do you progress arrangements when you get stuck? What has been your biggest creative breakthrough? Let's maybe talk about tension, because that's an interesting thing. And I think of all the people here, we are all doing dance floor music, which is, where tension is one of the main things you can play with. Maybe Juan, do you have any thoughts or things behind about this? How to create tension?
Well, I think that the most important component of music is like the balance of tension and release, right? Or one of the biggest aspects of making tracks interesting. I don't know. I mean, there is techniques you can apply and musical knowledge that you can apply depending on what kind of tension you want and everything. I think in the end is the connection that you get either with the gear or the plugin or whatever that you're using and blending together. Uh, and also, I mean, what can be a lot of tension to me, maybe to you is like not enough or whatever. It's very subjective to each producer, right? I believe it has to do basically with their own interpretation of the matter, and also being a DJ, I think, is what kind of creates like this knowledge of how to create tension or build with effects or modulations that you do in specific sounds. But there's not one thing. I believe it has to do with the person executing.
Mm. Isn't it? Don't you think tension is a universal thing? Because you said it's a matter of interpretation, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty universal thing. I mean, you can if there's tension in a track, you can easily tell, and it basically I think that comes across to everybody who listens to it. But I might be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know. Did you ever hear a track that for you was like a bit too much tension?
Too much tension. I don't know. That's a difficult question. Too much tension. No, I think for me, tension is when you listen to something and it really keeps you on your feet, although it might be very repetitive or monotonous. And if it still remains interesting over a longer period of time, although it's repetitive or loopy or whatever you would call it. I think that is the essence of tension, right? The feeling that is something is about to happen, or you can play with these things. You don't always have to give everybody or show very obviously the release in the music. You can also just sort of scratch against it, just be on the edge of tension and no tension. That might sometimes that's even more interesting or more exciting than being very bold and over the top with it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think.
Yeah, but that's his tension about the about the sensation in general in the track, or only tension in the brick.
No, whatever. I mean, just tension in the music in general, and nothing really special about breaks or anything. But I mean, I think there's enough examples in all of our music where things are just evolving very, very slowly, and but it gets to you. It still gets to you, and it keeps you interested, although it's very repetitive.
Yeah, because I think sometimes when somebody talk about tension, also talk about to release, that sometimes you don't need to release nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
Just keep, and that's all.
keep torturing them.
Yeah, and especially in techno music, I don't understand when the track have too much bridge or break or something like that, because under my point of view, you need to create something new with different tracks about the tension of the tracks. Not waiting like in house music or other kind of music that need this break, but not in techno.
Yeah, I think
Exactly.
I think the lack of a song structure is the thing that we play with in techno a lot. Without having very clear marked sections in one track, it's basically very often something that just goes on and on and on, and even within that very repetitive structure, there is a story, or there is an arc, or a tension arc, or however you would call it. So I guess so.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Yes.
Yes.
About my music, the kind of
No,
music.
on the subject of tension.
Tension depends. For me, it's you can how you define tension. You know, I like my tracks linear, but always, how do I explain? Evolving also. For me, that can be tension. For other person can be a little bit boring. So how can you define tension in this case? You know, for example, drum and bass or breakbeat, that's a lot of tension. But for other people, probably it's not tension enough. You know, I like my tracks to like tell a story, and especially to have be focused on the bass mainly. You know, not too many build ups or anything, but focus more on the bass line.
Okay, so basically we have 4 different answers to the person that.
Yeah.
That's good, isn't it?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think Coyle says he puts it in a good way. Building tension is making a promise and not giving it right away. Yeah, I guess that sums it up. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, there are so many other variations of electronic music which are nowadays have a very clear song structure, and it kind of I'm not naming names or you know,
So
any
far.
genres or yeah, exactly. No, but you know what I mean. The stuff that is very obviously, you know, 32 bars of this and then 16 bars of that, and then, you know, just a very structured thing, and then once one of these sections starts happening, you know exactly where it's going, even before you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, and I think that's sort of less interesting than creating tension with something where, in a way where you don't really know where it's going, but still keeps you interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Exactly.
like evolving. I mean, I think the right word is more evolving, involving you. You know, just taking you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
also you can
But
use.
I wouldn't define that tension. Tension for me is something that smacks you. You know,
Ah, okay.
that's tension for me. I don't define my music tension. I like when things go evolving you, and it will take you somewhere, but you know, you don't know where, in a way.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much talking about the same thing. Just to have a different description
Yeah,
for it.
meaning, yeah.
That's
Different meaning.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what you get. I mean, we went in this direction because they wanted to hear more about the creative process and not about gear, and that's what you get when you start putting musicians together who
Yeah.
all have different ways of talking about their process. That's funny. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Hello, everybody. Let's just return to gear, man. Oops, somebody lost the connection. All right, so go gear. Yeah, man. What do you want to know? I'm talking directly to the people in the comments now. Yeah, okay, so let's do a spotting game then. Juan has this nice red monophonic synthesizer. Is that the original 101 or is that the
That's a
Behringer
clone.
one? Ah, okay.
The Behringer one, your favorite one, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, there was one here in the studio a while ago, and I mean, it works pretty much the same as the original, and it sounds very much like the same, and you can be very snobby about it and say it's not the same, so it's not the true thing, but it's a very, very usable synth. It's so quick. I love the way these monophonic synths work with, especially with the internal sequencer, you know.
Exactly. I used to have the original, and one day I said, okay, I used it enough, and now I have a clone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you got it because it's different, or did you sell it and regretted it and got this one?
At some point, I sold it and regretted, and I
Ah,
decided to buy the clone like 6 months ago or when it was released. I changed my studio setup so many times, you know.
right.
I've been from like only inside the box to only modular to different old machines, and now I'm like in between the two worlds.
Right. Yeah, so you're also not an analog or a digital fanatic. I see a comment from our friend from Berlin, Rodhead. What's up, Mike?
Mm.
Um, there's a bit of a unclarity in his. I think this is probably to Miguel, I guess.
Mm.
Let me
Yeah, about
see. Okay.
Uh,
This is
yeah.
sometimes really hard in the high mid range. What's the processing? I don't know. Perhaps I pay too much attention to the mid height, not the frequency, but just in the sounds that contain that frequencies. And I don't know. Perhaps I also use a lot of compression in the sounds, and also not distortion, not too much distortion, but a little bit of distortion in all the sounds. And also at the beginning in the production, I use some preamp simulations, and I start to obtain a lot of harmonics, and all the harmonics go to this high and mid height position in the frequencies, and perhaps that's the reason. But I don't
Maybe
know.
that's related to what you said yourself, that you wanted your sound to be more centered and less open, right?
Yeah, perhaps.
Well, it's funny how everybody interprets it, because I'm always scratching your head about how you do these mixes, because they sounds. I mean, I don't think it's harsh. It's either. I think it's rather that it sounds very clear and very open, and not many people can do that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's more present than in most of us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also I need to know, Mike, what release do you refer? Because in my all releases I have one sound and now have another one.
Okay, well, maybe Mike can come back to the comments. We
Let's
should
go,
send him a
Roger.
link so he can join.
Yeah, because at the beginning I have this harsh sound because I was an ignorant about the techniques and the other. Now I kind of obtain the same, but with more control and about I want to obtain that. Not in the past was only about the ignorance.
Okay, so he doesn't mean harsh. He means presence.
Present.
Presence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the preamps and the compression and the
So you
little bit distortion.
do you do all that stuff in the box, or are you also looping stuff to outboard?
50-50.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, especially I started all the production in my laptop at home. I never come here to the studio for make music, because I need a private or a special place for me that I feel comfortable, and come here to the studio. I start to feel more technically guy and
Serious.
yeah, more serious. Yeah, but I do all my music at home, and when I have all the idea, come here and start to apply all the process and all of that. And
Right. So basically, you just use your studio as a place to mix down. Yeah. I mean,
not totally, because I have some scenes here.
Right.
You don't see. Let me. So some keyboards and scenes, and my process is to do the sketch in the laptop. Sorry. And here in the studio, sometimes I remove or change the sound for sounds from the keyboards because
Oh yeah.
no, for obtain another texture or another point of view or something. Sometimes I keep the sounds of the computer in the computer, and that's all. It's depends.
Right, right. But even though when you made something inside the computer, you go to the studio and then break it out to some outboard and some. What is some of the outboard stuff you're using?
Especially the I like to use the reverse on delays
Hmm.
too much. I have tape delay and one TC Electronics too, a Sony Reverb, a Foxtex Spring Reverb, Lexicon, because I think some effects can offer you a better sensation if they are outboard. And another thing can work better in the computer, like a plugin. It depends. It depends, no? Of course, I would like to have some preamps. I don't have preamps. I must use the emulations, but I try to discover the different textures or sensation that you can obtain from different outboard of plugins and try to combine using the best part that every machine or plugin can offer you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. So do you take long to use this approach because your music sounds like it's almost like a scientific, sometimes in the terms of how the sounds are sitting in the stereo field and how it's mixed. It sounds like you pay a lot of attention to it. There's a lot of work that goes into it. How long does it
Yes.
usually take you to do one track?
Yeah, it depends. Perhaps 1 week,
Oh yeah.
perhaps 3 months.
Do you never get bored with it?
No,
No?
no, because I taken a lot of pauses in the
Okay.
studio. Yeah, when I has been working here in the table, uh, perhaps is if I spend 2 hours in the studio, for example, I only listen around 30, 30 minutes, no more of sound,
Mm.
because I need to stop. I need to think about what I need to do, try, listen. Okay, it's good, continue. It's bad, try to think about another approach. And it's slow, but finally, this is satisfied for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting that you take pauses in hearing sound. So you basically listen to something, you work on it, and then you stop it again, and then think about it or decide what to do.
Yeah, because especially about the I don't know the name in English, the
Yeah,
fatigue,
fatigue.
the
Yeah, yeah,
fatigue. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I need to care too much my ears because I need to do my music and I need to mix other people or do mastering or I need to. It's my best tool.
Mm.
My ears and my brain. That's
Yeah.
the best tool, and I need to care too much.
Yeah, I've heard other people say that as well. I'm not so good in letting go or stopping. Once I'm in a flow, I usually just go on until I'm done. Because I'm very impatient. You sound like a very patient guy, somebody
Yeah.
who can go back to somebody who can go back to something you worked on before. I have a very difficult time doing that because by the time I get something committed to tape, I'm usually done with it.
Yeah,
And
but do you know the sensation when you spend 1 day working in the track and at the next day you listen to the track and what's that?
sure, yeah, of course.
If you take your pauses,
Mhm.
that never happen again.
Right. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
learned something new today.
because all the time you keep the sensation that you have before.
Yes, because
Never lose.
yeah, because you listen it. You don't over listen to it. You don't make it make it dead because you just keep it on repeat all the time.
Yeah.
So every time you start it again, you get this sense of excitement again. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I never, I just stop when the sidelines come. Stop, relax,
Right.
relax, because in that way I have under control all the time the music, not the
Right.
music control me.
Sure. Wow. Very philosophical guy. Nice one.
Yeah, it's
No,
only
no.
an approach.
Yeah, sure, but I mean it's interesting because I don't think many people do that because what about you, Juan or Steve?
I'm exactly the opposite.
Yeah?
The music controls me.
Right.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I was listening to you. I do respect like the breaks. I normally take like 10 minutes free each hour because I need to freshen up my head and everything. I don't work in very loud volumes. Sometimes I do if I want specifically, but I normally work in low volume. That's why I specifically like these speakers. They sound like really well in low volume as well. But I normally, yeah, I don't finish until I consider the idea more or less done, and then I do another one. I mean, I like to work in short breaks on one track, but I really like working on more tracks, like in the same session.
Right.
You know, I keep myself entertained and motivated if I feel like if I have the flow, of course. Otherwise, it makes no sense. But once I get into the flow, I don't want to stop, so I can keep making music until I fall asleep. I like that way, but every hour I stop 10 minutes. Yeah, that's very important. It is really because otherwise you lose yourself in the track, right? At some point, it's hard to understand what you're doing. Breaks are important, but I don't know. I enjoy making like several tracks in a very long session.
Right, but you work in different tracks in the same session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, normally when I decide to make music, I make at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 sketches, but I try to leave each of them into a place where, okay, if I want to go deeper, I really need to go deeper into arrangement, and I don't want to do that. I just want to create music. So I create as much as I can. When I get the feeling that I might start getting bored, I switch to another track because I feel in the flow. But then if I want to go to like specific details or a small arrangement, I don't want to care about any of that when I'm creating. You know.
Yeah.
That's the boring part as well.
Yeah. No, and I think it's important to keep working in 4 or 5 tracks in the same not session, but in the same days, because perhaps sometimes you don't have the right feeling, the correct feeling for working in a track, but
Exactly.
do you have for working in the next? And you can go jump in until you obtain the correct vibe and continue working in that track and continue.
I also believe it's a good way, like a good creative way of building something together, either if it's an EP or an album or whatever. Like, okay, I make the full structure of everything I want to do, and then I will work like more dedicatedly, like individually. But when I create, I want to create more than one track because I think that's how you build like the identity of a project, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Okay.
Hey, we agree on.
I normally work long hours on a track, but sometimes I just work like 1 hour, or depends on the tracks also. I remember one time I spent like 9 hours straight working on a track. My ears were like, but I was enjoying, and that's the most important thing. I was enjoying those 9 hours, you know. I didn't care much about having breaks. Normally I have breaks, but that day I just wanted to go 9 hours straight and finish that track. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes I work in periods, you know. I work one track now, and in 1 hour I will change and work in another, so I can have a fresh and my mind can go on other things.
Yeah.
And
like-
you did you recover some old projects?
No.
Never?
Old projects in my hard drive. Yes. Sometimes I have a folder from 2017, 2012, or things like that. Sometimes I'll open them, but I hardly ever use them. I use tiny portions. Some things I like,
Okay, so you go back into your archive and then kind of
Yeah.
blow new life into it.
Yeah, because I work a lot with MIDI, Sometimes I just save MIDI files with arpeggios and things like that, and I'll go through them and keep on working.
And you
Yeah.
use harmonies?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I miss too much in the electronic music the harmonies, because all the music is composed about loops with percussion and stops.
I use a lot
Sounds
of
like that.
I like to use sounds, not many of them, but I like to use always a pattern, playing some kind of melody or things like that. I like it. I like
but
a lot of hypnotic things, That's me.
Yeah, but this melody at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss sometimes the melodies in the music, because I think it's the most complicated, hard point in techno to obtain a good melody
Yeah, I
with
think
with
so.
the correct vibe, the correct feelings for push the idea, but don't go in a cheesy way or something.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, in talking about melodies, because Miguel, your music is often quite melodic for than sort of more melodic than straight techno can be, but there's also a lot of dissonance or odd combinations of notes and stuff. But yeah, how do you write these things,
Yeah.
or do you experiment and stumble upon the right sound or the right combination? How do you do that? Okay, there comes the secret. Okay.
Yeah,
You play the keys.
I play the keys for
Okay.
all the sound,
Right.
included the percussion, because and I use a lot the. Do you know the decaphony?
Mm-hmm.
I use a lot the decaphony especially for build the bass line, and about the sequence, I obtain the tonal note and start to build the other sounds in this note, and start to make tensions like before we discussed, just changing the harmonies, perhaps in minor mode or something, and start to mix different kind of harmonies in the same track, and perhaps in one of my tracks I can use 3-4 different kind of harmonies in the same moment, and perhaps that's a difficult point.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Difficult, yeah, because it's difficult to keep the harmonies without dissonance.
Yeah.
Without
Maybe you want
not-
that dissonance as well, right?
Yeah, about dissonance, of course.
Yeah.
No, and finally I ended using 3-4 different harmonies, and this can be a little bit crazy when you need to do the bridge or the breakdown or something. Is and how I can continue in this point. No?
Yeah. Okay, you find yourself that you've been pushing into a point of no return.
yeah, but finally you must to resolve the situation. and
Yeah,
push a noise. That's all. Okay.
And noise can fix everything.
Yeah, a lot of rides and percussion. Pa, 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 pa.
Yeah, we fix it in
Fix
the
it.
mastering stage.
Yeah.
Good.
here's another one with sorry, yeah. There's another one that I thought was interesting. Um, During your creations, do you do it by feeling, or do you already have a precise idea? What about you, Steve? Do you start with an idea, or do you just
No,
start making music and then stumble upon something, then you go for the thing
no.
you find?
You know what I do? I just put one bass and I go from there. Sometimes a track can go really deep because I don't know, my music can go a little bit banging, but also so deep, and I don't mind, and I like it because I put the bass and let the track build around it. This I never ever thought how I'm gonna create a track unless it's a tool track or drones, things like that. You have that thing in your mind, but when I'm making a dance track, I always start with a bass line. Doesn't
Right.
matter. Doesn't matter if it's gonna be hard or deep or doesn't matter. Always a bass line. Not
Yeah.
even a kick. Just a bass line.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I start
Okay,
with.
but
I like to be in my studio like and going on and on in a bass line. Just I get I don't know the right word. You know.
hugged by the bass.
Yeah, involved. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Like a
I smoke.
bass
I
line.
smoke. I smoke a lot of grass, so maybe that's why.
Ah,
Right?
okay, okay. Smoking and listening to the bass line. Awesome.
Yeah, it's just
But
drifting.
you said with not dance floor music, you do have an idea in your head. What is the thing in your head then? Is it the direction? Is it an aesthetic or a certain sound or a melody? What can be the starting point in that case?
Um, for me, it has to be the bass. You
Always
have
the bass.
to, yeah. You have to tell to give my printing. I don't know how to say it. You know, people will know if there is Steve Parker, that kind of bass line always going on and on. And
Sure.
after that, I just go adding stuff, beats and things like that. Sometimes I love the bass and I don't love the track, so I'll start again and from fresh, without any elements, just the bass line again. I focus everything around the bass line. It's always been like that. I like working like that. The idea of building a track. Some people like to start on a 4/4 kick, yeah,
Mhm.
and building a track. No, I like the bass. Because you can have 16 beats, you can do a lot of stuff, you know.
Yeah, to be honest, I never have a fixed way of working. I never have a starting point. I must say I do work in a more um, sort of stumble upon ideas kind of way. So, just connect a bunch of gear and start messing around, and then stumbling upon a moment where things start to, the pieces of the puzzle start to fall into
Yeah.
place. Um, but it can be something in bass register, or it can be
Okay.
percussion or a beat, or it can be melodies or anything. It
Yeah.
doesn't really. I've never really have a fixed way of trying to start something. Usually, it's just the act of putting some gear on the table and starting. The strategy basically, not the not a specific part of the music that I work from. What about you, Juan?
For me, it's the same. Yeah, I normally, if I want to start working on something and I know what I want to do, like, okay, I want to do loopy techno or whatever, that's my goal in my head and my objective. But then I just let the sounds lead me. I normally want to find like a main sound that can be like a percussion or a synth or whatever, but it's something that actually gives a meaning to what I'm starting to build. Once I find something that gives meaning to the record, then I start building around it in a way, as you said, like making all the pieces find its place. Like on very rare occasions, I thought of specifically, okay, this track with this structure, but that normally never sends where you think of, right? So I stopped planning like that.
You always end up somewhere else, even if you
Yes.
have a fixed idea. Yeah.
It's like I want to know if I'm going to work with the bass or without the bass, if I want to do ambient or techno, whatever. That's the only like limitation I put or goal. Then I just start processing or creating, and that's how for me it builds up.
Is processing part of the writing process for you? Like processing sound, is it part of the writing, or is it something you do afterwards?
I mean, depending on the track, I've done some tracks that is only like three sounds, and without the effects, you don't have a track. So
Right.
in some others, it's just like a small reverb on a hi hat, and that's a process. But when especially when you connect directly like a pedal, a synth through a pedal or stuff like that, then it becomes definitely part of the creative process,
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and a very important one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like getting a sound, really. It's just a part of the getting the sound. But with processing, I guess I mean more like compression and EQ and stuff like that. Is that something you do on the fly, or is it something that you can first get your sounds down and your structure, and then start processing or adding EQ, or is it part of the same thing?
I kind of like mix and produce a little bit at the same time. As I said before, not like the very specific details, but it's just natural to me to, okay, if I'm creating a new sound, I want it to sound as best as possible now. It's also like something I've been training myself to do. It's very easy to get used to something that doesn't sound good, or even if it sounds good or not, it's very easy to get used to how you are really listening to it. So I try to get to a point where sounds are more or less in the place I want, even if EQ, compression, or whatever, but not the deepest details.
Right.
That would take me away. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, there's a mix-related question here as well. Where did I see that? Here, from John a Ghost. What's up, John?
Voilà.
Any tips or starting point to achieve a good balance when starting a mix? Maybe we should ask our teacher.
Yeah, try to do the gain staging.
Gain staging, yeah, very
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, that at the beginning is really important in the beginning in the mix. If I don't go to explain what is gain staging here because it can be longer, but you can Google it and start to apply the gain staging.
Can you explain what gain staging is for the people who don't know?
Okay. Faster is you must to put the sound in an area that go to work fine with your compressors, with your monitors, with other sounds. That point is minus 18 dBs in RMS, and you must to put all the sounds in this
Space.
area, in this
Yeah.
space, and cut all your faders, go down the faders, and start to do your mix. That's a good point. You go to obtain a lot of dynamic range in the mix, a lot of dynamics range in the listening, and it's the first that you must do. If you are using, for example, Ableton or Pro Tools, the audios have a click gain. You must use the click gain for obtain the position and continue working.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a good
Yeah.
point. On the other hand, the old school way sometimes is to completely misalign and fuck up the gain staging to get saturation or even distortion up to the point of distortion. So it that could also be an approach if you're not like totally serious about it, but still want some rocking beats, But I do agree. If you really want a well balanced mix, gain staging is pretty much everything. Yeah. What about you, Steve? Do you care about that, or are you?
Yeah, I
like,
care a lot about levels. I like to be the lowest I can be in the levels when I'm making
Oh yeah.
music. Yeah. I like to listen and to have room so I can apply dynamics when I want, and I care a lot about dBs and volume.
Okay.
And after I can distort the sound how I want, But I like my favorite part of making music is mixing my music.
Mm.
I like it a lot. I like
Yeah,
to,
you can hear that your tracks always sound very detailed and very
Yeah, I like spending a lot.
engineered. Yeah.
I'm not a very top keyboard player or anything like that, but I love spending time mixing a track. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah. And you, Juan?
What was the question? Sorry.
Well,
I
we
got
were
lost.
talking about gain staging or about achieving.
Oh yeah, I mean,
if you want to achieve a really good mix, what is the best approach to get started? That was the question.
to get started, I completely agree with all your approaches. I normally like to set up my studio before start creating and try to set those approximate levels that I want, from before I start creating. I think apart from that, there's so many things that we can talk about mixing. Many people ask me mixing questions about my own music. In the end, it's all about taste, right? In mixing. Besides all the technical parts and everything, it's so hard that we find two people that sound the same way. It's all our speakers, our acoustics, our comprehension on the sound. Wow, it's such a little word.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that's an aesthetical thing, I guess. That's an aesthetic choice how
definitely.
you are finally going to make it sound. But if you want to get a good starting point to have a fair chance to get it sounding the way you want, then that's, I guess, what we were talking about, and then building it up with enough level or enough headroom in all your signals is definitely a way to go.
It certainly, you have to find the sweet spot, right? You don't want to have like the sounds too low or stuff like that. Then you find, as Tadeo says, of course, it's very important to have some dynamic range. It's fundamental for the music.
And is that only one thing? If you're working in a digital environment, the gain staging must be confused about that minus 18 RMS. But if you're working in an analog environment, will be more easy because you only must to keep in 0.
Yeah.
0 dBus is the same that
you'll pick up more noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but noise can be good, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Certainly. That's where the theory stop counting.
Yeah. So anybody here mixes analog in an analog desk, or
I used to in the
box?
past. I used to mix on Amidas. Then my studio, I moved to a different place. My studio was too small. I ended up selling it. Now I mix in the box. I do have like a old Boss mixer, but that I don't use for mixing. I use for adding flavor. I'm sure you use it like in the old days, right? The Box BX80. But I'm mixing in the box. Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about that, I've seen Tadeo. I've seen your controller that you have. I've seen some videos. Not now. You have the Livid controllers, right, for mixing in your studio.
Yeah, there's an Avid. It's for Pro Tools.
David. Yeah, okay.
Avid the art. I don't know the names.
No, it doesn't matter. But I really like
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
I consider them many times, but it's not supposed to be so meant to be with Ableton, right?
yeah. But you know, I bought the controller only for do the automations because I think it's really important in the music that you automate all the music about
Yeah.
to give to the people some sensations, right? And especially save me a lot of time. And
So
yes,
you're mixing in Pro Tools then?
yeah, Pro Tools.
Oh, okay. So but you don't start your music in Pro Tools, do you?
No, I start here.
Ah, okay, okay.
€5.
No, because I put all my ideas here in the book.
No, but I
And
mean,
yeah, I know. I start
yeah.
with Ableton in
Okay.
the laptop, and when I have a rock mix with all the idea, all the developing the arrangement parts of the software, I export all the audios and build in the Pro Tools session and start to mix
Okay.
and change things and apply
So
effects and
what is your idea behind moving it into Pro Tools? Is it more accurate for you to mix in, or what is the idea about that?
yeah, yeah, but perhaps yes, because but you know I never use the deeper options in a DAW.
Hmm.
I use Pro Tools like a console, only faders, sends, plugins that I use like an equalizer or compressors.
Mm.
I try to keep the analog vibe in the digital world.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know many people who do that. I when I switched from Logic to Ableton, I did it for a while. Making music or was quicker for me in Ableton. At some point, I got used to that, and but I still kind of missed the features of the Logic mixing environment. So I did like you did, export the stems to Logic and mix it
Yeah,
there. But at some point, I got better at mixing in Ableton and decided that I would switch completely. But I know what you mean. It is hard work in Ableton, to be honest.
yeah,
You can make it work. But it's yeah, it's more like a sound designing, jamming environment and creating environment
yeah. For
than a
create
mixing environment.
Ableton
Yeah,
is really good. Can put your idea in 5 minutes. It's done.
yeah,
It's really fast and yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I recommend to the people that use the software or the mixer that they feel comfortable working,
Sure.
not using a program or a software or something because your friend or your preferred artist use. Don't have sense. Just use
Yeah,
that.
it
You
makes
feel
sense. You
fine.
got to start somewhere, though. If
Yeah.
you haven't got any experience anywhere, maybe that's a good one. Is it what would you recommend to for people who are starting out? What is a good environment to familiarize yourself with um, producing or sound design or mixing? To be honest, I would say Ableton or Bitwig.
I think
Either of those
Ableton
two.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Ableton. It's the easiest way, right? And I mean, you can do so much inside Ableton. I think it's the simplest access to a lot of things.
Mm. Yeah, Bitwig is gaining some traction though. Anybody using Bitwig here?
No, I use
No.
Live also.
Sorry, Steve. What?
I use Ableton.
Ableton.
Yeah,
Okay.
not Bitwig.
And you mix in the box as well, right?
Yeah. All in a computer.
Yeah. So do you have any particular process for mixing in Ableton? Like,
Yeah,
is it like with Juan that is, it's part of the sometimes part of the writing process? Are you mixing and writing at the same time, or is it or is it split?
It depends. If I want to get something on the sound, I'll do it right away. But
Right.
like I said, after the track is done, I like to bounce everything in audio and just mix it. Then add plugins, and I use a lot of plugins. So
Oh, so
to make
so after you've basically done all your writing, you bounce the stems and then mix it.
yeah, on every
Ah,
track I
okay.
make. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I love mixing. It's my favorite part.
Right.
Yeah, I like spend hours working just on one sound and on EQ and experimenting and learning also. Because when you are doing something, you are learning. Oh, that happened for a reason. But I think the best way for a young producer is to work the best in the best environment that you can for you. It doesn't matter if it's afterwards or in the beginning or in the middle. What works for you is the best way.
Yeah, or
Is
whatever you
yeah,
can get your hands on, I would say.
yeah,
Just don't start somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, because when I started making music, there was no YouTube or uh,
Or Ableton.
people telling me how to do it. It was just a matter of getting a synth or a drum machine and experiment the hell out of it and see what
yeah,
happens. I think the whole exploration and the whole discovery, the route of discovery is probably uh, the most solid way to start. You have to just get your hands dirty and go into it, I guess, and just find all these things out about yourself. You can, of course, listen to other people and learn from it and pick up techniques and stuff. But to really create your own voice or to find
yeah.
what you really like is something you have to discover yourself by
That's
just
right.
experimenting and trying out.
Exactly. I'm sure if we all remember how did we start making music or what did we use in the beginning, it was nothing that we have now, right? I started producing with this Rebirth. Do you know Rebirth software?
Rebirth,
Rebirth,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Me was,
I mean,
sorry.
it was fun for when you're just starting and learning. You just want to make sounds out of nowhere, right? And that was cool by the time.
yeah. I mean, entire albums have been written in in Rebirth or Fruity Loops or stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's a very quick and good environment to get your head around how it actually works, because there is the basics of synthesis and the basics of mixing all in one environment, which is it's a good place to start, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big up to Rebirth. Yes, absolutely, Rebirth.
I think a lot of us started with Rebirth.
Yeah, I haven't used it for ages though. It's it's a pretty complicated package right now, I think, these days. Right?
Honestly, I haven't heard of it like since 1997 or something.
Okay.
I didn't know it was still going on, Rebirth.
Yeah.
No, they are closed, I think.
Oh, okay.
And what about the trackers?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
man.
I use Cubase.
I started trying to programming in Basic,
Hmm.
to programming music with perhaps the Sinclair Spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I was trying to emulate the Jean-Michel Jarre tunes, but was completely impossible to do.
For many reasons.
Yeah, but I learned what was the envelope. Yeah, when
Yeah, okay.
I was 20 years old, no, 12 years old, and that's fine.
Yeah. Has anybody been tempted to check out the Napoleon Tracker? Have you seen that?
Not really, no.
No,
No. Okay, so Polyend made. They brought the tracker back into a hardware machine, and it's basically a hardware box, sort of MPC size, tabletop thing, and it works exactly like the old software trackers. It's like with rows and samples and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I'm wondering. Oh yeah, obviously you all haven't haven't tried it. I was intrigued by it though, because it's such a different way and a very direct way to make music.
Okay, we need to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
never
but
used trackers, Juan, in the
I've
past?
seen it before. Me, no, I've seen it before, but I started on Cubase ST, I think.
Ah, yeah.
Cubase ST, yeah, in '98, I think. And after I changed it to Ableton. So
yeah,
Yeah.
it was really nice to emulate delays in the trackers.
Yeah, with
It's
samples like with
yeah, repeat the
yeah,
samples
yeah,
with different.
yeah. Yeah, it worked like crazy though, because you could to some of the if you got really fast on them, you could write a track in an hour, really fast, with just using 6 or 7 samples,
Yeah,
and get very complex as well. So it's an interesting way of working, because it's so limited and so rigid that you have to kind of really stretch the possibilities to get something with a human feel, or with a sort of dynamics out of it, because it's all punching in numbers and changing things on the
yeah,
fly. But it's a really fun way of working, but very limited. But at the same time, limitations can be good.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially for techno, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's actually one of these things that comes up in most of these chats. Um, how you deal with the infinite possibilities of the software environments where we are living in these days. Are there any specific techniques to limit yourself, to make sure you don't get lost in the infinite amount of possibilities? What about
Yeah.
you, Steve?
no, I don't think about anything about like that. I just come to the studio to make music. I don't think how should I stop I really enjoy being in the studio. I don't put any rules for my music. Okay, my music has some kind of character, yeah, but because it's me, it's my color, it's got the color of my music. But I don't think about any ideas or philosophy stuff in my music. I just make music and enjoy and smoke and spend time in the studio. That's my favorite thing.
Nice.
I even enjoy more being in the studio than playing. I like
Could
the reaction. I like to be close to people, but I
mm,
enjoy more mixing music than mixing tracks in a club.
right.
But I love DJing, but I prefer producing and being
If
in the
you would have to
studio.
choose, it would be the studio.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Miguel or Juan? Uh, is there anything you do to limit yourself, or restrict uh, restrict yourself from getting lost in the possibilities, or you don't care about that?
I do care. I mean, I think it's important just to don't buy more machines until you don't control all the machines you have, and don't download more plugins until you know what you have, right?
Right. Yeah.
I try to have the less necessary plugins as possible. I mean, I know which plugins I like, which plugins I don't like. So the ones I don't like, I delete. I think it's very important to try to get everything out of every machine or every plugin that you have in the same way. It's very easy to think that way with a synthesizer. That is something physical and maybe more expensive or whatever. The approach I like to have with the plugins is the same. I don't want to have plugins I don't use. I think that's important for having also the sound you want with the machines and plugins you want.
Yeah, I think to have too much scenes is not good.
It can be a problem, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big problem indeed. I my approach is to have a synth for every what's the name synthesis kind of synthesis. For example, I have one for the FM, another for the wavetable, another for the analog, and because I know that any synthesis offers you a kind of sound.
Yes.
When I need a kind of sound, go to this synth and just do some setup or configurations and obtain the sound and continue. And that is not a limitation, but it's like two walls, and I live inside the walls, and that's all. That's my tools. That's all.
Yeah, okay, so it makes sense. So you basically restrict yourself by knowing your gear really well, and
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, is anybody using UAD plugins or external processing at all here? Like,
Digital, you mean?
yeah, I saw there was another thing. Yeah, I just saw it somewhere in the comments. I lost it again. I'm so terrible at this. Yeah, like plugins with external DSP boxes, you know, like the UAD stuff or something.
I used UAD in the past, like 10 years ago. Then I switched sound card, then I switch again. Now I have the Antelope Orion. That one comes with some sort of DSP plugins, which I don't really. I mean, I tried a couple of times, and it was nothing so special to me. I really used to like the UAD plugins when I use them, and they are highly regarded. They're supposed to be really good, but I lost track of them like a decade ago.
Yeah, I have used UAD too, and also solid state logic DSP,
Oh yeah.
the old Duende.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Yeah. But honestly, I don't know if a DSP is more good than the standard plugins. I'm not sure.
No, what do you mean? The standard plugins in Pro Tools or in
Yeah, or Ableton,
Everywhere,
AU, UBST.
yeah, I guess you don't. It's one of these things that you start looking into when you've completely exhausted all the standard plugins that come with your environment, and you want to have a different flavor that you don't have in your arsenal before. Then you, that's I got a small UAD box here, and some of the stuff I like. I only bought a few plugins. I don't get too many because I'd rather know one really well than getting too many things and get confused by it, you know. But yeah, I do like the sound of some of the UAD plugins because they just have a different flavor. Some flavors that are not present in the software I use. So in that sense, it just adds to the arsenal of possibilities I have, or the things I can use if I need it. Especially the more specialized plugins, the sort of really surgical EQs and stuff like that is something sometimes that comes in handy because they do the job just slightly better than the native ones, I guess. But you don't need it to make good music. It's just the final touch, you know.
Do you have any plugin that you also have in the hardware version of the UADs, like a compressor or?
Yeah, I've got some old Trident hardware and SPL stuff.
Did you compare them both, or I mean, if you have to use them in a track, would you go pick up the hardware, or?
Why would I'm not such a I'm not in the studio to compare plugins to the real thing.
But I mean, do you feel they are good enough to stop using the hardware for a while?
some emulate the originals better than others, I think. But for me, the main difference is the way they work in terms of interface. Sitting behind a screen, mousing around with some knobs on a screen is totally different than sitting behind a desk and having control and having immediate response and stuff like that. So in that sense, I prefer the big units, the outboard. But in terms of sound, if you would approach it scientifically, if you believe how they advertise it, it's only very, very, very little difference, just a few percent, or maybe not even that. I don't know. I've never tested it myself, but the only criterion for me is does it do the job the way I want it to do, and sometimes I like to have this feeling of sitting behind big knobs and do it that way, and other times it's fine to just do a quick thing with a plug-in, as long as it gets the job done, really. Yeah.
And any plugin or hardware that being part of your own sound?
Sorry, say that again?
Any plugin or hardware that being part of your sound?
Ooh, you mean like a signature sound?
Yeah, signature. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think so. I mean, the stuff that I use is because it's the reason I choose to work with a certain synth or a piece of machinery is because I like the way I can interact with it, and I like a playful way of making music. I don't sit behind this stuff and try a lot of different things. I just go work with the machines and see where it ends up and stumble upon something that is really exciting me. That's the way I get into a direction I wanted to go, and it can be anything. It doesn't really. There's not really like a very specific piece of gear that defines my sound. No, not really, I guess.
Yeah, I have one.
Oh, okay. What is it for you then?
The GRM tools.
GRM tools. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from Steinberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still around. I used to have them on my old computer. I never really reinstalled them because it. I don't know, but yeah. Why is it your signature thing, and how do you use them?
Yeah, but you can set up some strange delays really closer and with envelopes opposite in the like an invert envelopes. Also the what's the effect? The Doppler effect.
Ah, yeah.
And some another kind of resonance moduling, and they have a new version, and yeah, I still using in the last 4 or 5 years for all the tracks.
Right.
Yeah, and give you in the production a kind of texture, like a kind of synthetic, like rubber, metallic. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I remember they were absolutely amazing. They're very you can put them in settings that end up in total chaos and glitch territory, but you can also use them in very subtle ways. Yeah, I should get them reinstalled. I actually liked them very much when I had them. I don't even know why I just forgot about them, I guess. Yeah.
And
what about you, Steve? What is your secret plug-in weapon?
Well, I have not secrets, but I like to use the Drowner 1973, the compressor.
Right.
I use it on all tracks. I like it. I like the sound and the control I can have on the mix with that. And my favorite box is the free. So it's the TV free of free. I like it a lot.
You got the real hardware one?
No. I got the version.
Okay.
The TD free, I think.
Right.
TD
Right.
free.
Right.
Yeah.
But your music is not really flooded with 303s, I guess. But
Some tracks are, yeah.
yeah, some,
But
but it's not.
sometimes I work the bass line on the TV, and then I swap it with other sounds from other machines. Because, like I said, I use a lot of MIDI, so I'll
Mm,
use it later. Sometimes I just sit in the sofa with a machine and working on patterns. You
right.
know, yeah, it's my favorite box.
Yeah, but mainly because of the sequencer. Then I understand.
The sequencer and the sound, I like the
Mm,
square waves. I like
yeah.
a lot the square waves on that, and being able to get an idea really fast. In the
Yeah.
sofa, I can sit in the sofa and just play with it because it's so small.
Yeah. It's 303s are absolutely classic.
But my
Okay.
favorite, but my favorite synth is the MC 202.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite machine. I don't have one, but I've been using one. It's amazing. I like it a
Don't
lot.
don't you find it a pain to program? I've got one
Yes, a
too, but
little bit. Yeah, a
it's
little.
terrible.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
you just go, and then it's yeah. But
Well,
it's fun.
it's cool once you get your head around it, but
Yeah,
it's you really have to sit down with it and yeah, get your head around it because
but
it's not the easiest way. It's the total opposite of the 303, to be honest, because you can
yeah,
on a 303 you can just do anything and it sounds good, and
yeah,
the 202 makes you work harder, I guess.
yeah. But it's a nice little machine. I like it a lot,
Yeah, cool.
and you can
Uh,
take it anywhere also with you.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have any all of the old classic Roland stuff lying around?
Yeah, the MC303.
Oh, the MC303,
Yeah,
I
the
have
ravey groove box.
the
yeah,
group
I have
box. Yeah.
the 505
Now,
also.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
also
Yeah.
the 101.
SH101.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I only use for the sub bass
Hmm.
Mm,
only. It's in
yeah.
a position and never touch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know that I
Man,
must to
the
yeah,
101
I know.
the 101 is so much fun to tweak.
Yeah, but you know, I listen others 101s, but don't obtain the same sub bass that mine.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's
Hmm.
So you got the special Tadeo 101.
yeah,
It comes with the extra bass button.
Yeah.
yeah.
Steve, you should visit Tadeo's studio, man. He's got the really big bassy sounding.
Yeah, I love bass, but I don't like much low end, to be honest.
Okay,
I'm more mid range and I range. I like more.
right.
But wait, you pimped your 101 or what's going on? It has more bass.
What?
You pimped
you
your
modify it?
yeah.
Did you modify your 101?
No. Because sometimes in the past I modified and was really hard to obtain the same bass that I had before. I prefer to keep easy in the corner of the studio, and
It's been on for the last 10 years.
yeah, but
Great.
it's I don't know why, but when I use a sine frequency in the 30, 40 years,
Mhm.
I don't have the same sensation, especially at the time to the implementation in the mix. The 101, you don't need to do nothing. Just put the sound. That's all.
Mm.
With other sub bass frequencies, I need to create some space for the kid, for the other basses.
It's true.
That's
It's true. The 101 always sits really well in the mix. No, but
Yeah.
it's true for the entire range of sounds that it produces. It's always very friendly for other instruments.
yeah.
It never really sits in the way of anything. It's a very versatile machine. I've started using it more in the last few months, and I was always in love with it, but I'm completely in love again after all these years. Oh, it's so versatile. It's crazy. It's just one of the most versatile mono synths ever, I think. And it, whatever you do with it, almost always sounds good. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I
You
need
can
to,
go really,
to buy
you can go
another
really
one.
wild with it, and turn the transpose knob and shit like that. It can be very wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much it changed with such a small, like a millimeter, you move some knobs and you
Yeah.
find like a whole new world, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The 101.
I have the 201 here, the Space Echo. I use it a lot.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Really great machine, yeah. I love it.
Do you use it for sound design, or is it part of the chain when you mix or something?
Both. I mean, I use it. I try to use it as more creative as possible. I also like recording modulations from the machine. I almost never use it like on a return track or something like that. You know, I want to be like a main process of a sound.
Yeah, it's
like a more characteristic sound. Yeah.
yeah, they're so wild, and even when the tapes get fucked up, they're still interesting.
It can be
You
even
get like
better,
the
yeah. Exactly. And every 2-3 months it stop working. You fix, the screws or something. In a way, it's like in a digital world. I find it like a really cool way to be connected with our past as well, right? It's really like watching a tape, like moving, and the sound that comes out of it is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a nostalgic sound to it. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you put the finger in the tape?
No, should I?
I
Tell
do
me.
with mine. It's different. It's a copycat Watkins.
Oh yes.
And sometimes I put the finger and change the tempo and and destroy the tape too. And
There's no funnier feeling than when you change the tape for the first time, right? It never goes well. It's just too much information, too much tape.
yeah.
Here's an interesting thing. Pacific Voltage Club. Hello, Pacific Voltage Club.
Hola.
Can you define why a thing sits in the mix? It's an interesting question, because if you're not mixing yourself or producing yourself, I can understand why this is something that is an abstract concept. Anybody has ideas? I can talk about it, but anybody wants to talk about the sitting in the mix phenomenon?
Let's
Go,
the
go,
teacher.
Man, the teacher. as far as I know, I think.
Oh, can I interrupt
Man,
you? Sorry, Miguel. Yeah, your air conditioning is making that funny noise again, Juan.
Okay. Yeah, we're fine now, right? Otherwise, it's not my air conditioning.
No, it's still here.
It has nothing to do with
It's
me.
like a cricket came into the room. Let me see. It's not me, is it? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, now it's gone.
Yeah, hey.
It's you. It's you.
It's who? You?
No, it's definitely you, Juan.
Okay, but I really don't know what to do. I can close the door. Maybe that's a good idea, right?
Well, it's very loud, so I think it's something which is close to your mic, to be honest.
I don't have anything connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It does?
changing.
I think it's just an interference of the speakers. Okay, I will switch off the speakers. You give me a minute. That's a good idea, right?
Yeah. Okay. Then in the
I think
meantime, we
it's
can.
the speakers, yeah.
Okay. It's just now it's gone.
Yeah, good.
It's him.
It's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're good now?
Yeah, we're good now. Yeah, that's good.
Good.
Well,
Okay.
sit in the mix, no?
Sitting in, yeah, something. When is something sitting in the mix? What is it? What is the phenomenon? Yeah.
I think it's when a sound of find the position in an easy way. You you don't need to do nothing. The sound go put in their position and work with all the sound that have together around. That's it. The bits. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we mean by it is you basically your composition or track consists of an array of sounds, a whole bunch of sounds, and it can happen that some sound from some synth or some source is taking a lot of space in the audio spectrum. So maybe there is a whole lot of sub bass that you don't really need, or there's a very big peak in the somewhere in the mid range that is sticking out too much. And when an instrument is said to be sitting in a mix well, it means that there's never something that is bothering or taking up too much space from other instruments, or doesn't have peaks that are piercing your ears or something like that. So it doesn't really need to be EQ'd, or it doesn't need to be compressed. It's there and it's right already. So it's already sitting in the mix well. That's basically
Yeah,
what it is.
not
And the
fighting
101
without
is a
sounds.
very, very good example of a synth that is almost always sitting in the mix well, which is not true for a lot of big old poly synths, for example, Jupiter 8 or something like that. It can, or big, the Moog. Some of the Moogs were so massive sounding that you have to reduce the massiveness of them to not overpower the other instruments. So, yeah.
Yeah, but especially it's a problem from electronic music
Yeah.
because
Everything's competing for space.
yeah. Because for example, in classical, every instrument have a limited range of frequencies,
Yeah.
and it's really difficult that start to bother in other instruments. But for example, as you say, the Jupiter 8, you load the bass, press the key, and you have all the range of frequency full of sound. And that's a problem.
Yeah, because it's it's sitting in the way of the other instruments that you might want to give some space to. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, fortunately the what's in the pumping compression, the sidechain compression,
Yeah.
can help you.
Yeah, especially
Yes.
kick and bass are always, people normally talk about the bass in general, right? If it's sitting well and fitting with the kick drum. I think with sidechain you can definitely accomplish that. But it also has to do with, like, not only with the source that you want to mix into a track, but which sources you use in the rest of the track, right? I mean, not a great kick drum probably won't sit well in a different mix, depending on the track and intention and so many things.
Yeah, it's the combination. It's not really that one kick drum would work in everything. It can be sounding. One kick can sound massive in one track and sound very weak in another one, because maybe it gets overpowered by the bass or it just doesn't have a frequency that is separated enough from the rest of the sounds that are going on, that it disappears in the whole bass region. Yeah, it's true for every frequency, though. I'm just talking about the kick now because you said kick. So actually, maybe Steve can talk about it because he's Mr. Bassline, the bassline guy. So do you work hard finding the right drums or kicks around your bass lines? As you said, you always start with the bass line. So how do you go from there?
I
And
really
trying
have
to make them clash.
problems with kicks. I'm never happy with my kick.
Okay.
Not because it's not sounding good, because I'm always something that I never focus when I start a track. I never focus on a kick. Yeah, I always use the same kick 909 and let it go. and after I start tweaking and changing kicks or adding things, and normally I use a lot of side chain, but with AQ, so it kills some frequencies, so I can cut. For example, I cut low frequencies on ads, and on, sometimes I have same kick but with different channels for bass and for mids and for AQ for high ends, and start using a lot of sidechain compressor until I found what I really like.
Layering, you mean, right?
No,
layer different.
No, it's the same kick, but with crossovers, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so I can just shape the low end, or just shape the mid, or just shape the high end, the high end, yeah. But always the same kick, but then I add stuff on it.
Yeah. Jendrik says dynamic EQ is a discovery for me. I think he's talking about things like the Pfirter.
Yeah.
MB, right? MB.
Yeah. That is a very powerful tool. That's exactly what it does that you described. Just it dips dynamically certain frequencies to make space for other stuff. Yeah.
I
It is
use
a
it
sort of
on
sidechaining,
all
but it's
channels.
yeah.
Because sometimes an ad can screw the mix on the low end, for example. So I always use filters and chop the sound or the frequencies I really don't want in a track. Or I mean in the stem on the album.
Do you how do you get your tracks ready for mastering? Do you go
I
all the
master
way
all my tracks. Yeah.
yourself? Oh,
Yeah.
right, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I like it.
Yeah. So do you never have the idea that you have you need a second pair of ears to judge?
Yeah,
what you've
sometimes,
done?
yeah. But I in the beginning, I used to do that, but I had some bad experience. And sometimes they really kill the vibe of the track,
Right.
and you know, and some labels they don't like when you start complaining and saying, oh, the mix is not right. Can you? So I rather do it myself and leave it just to the final touch. Leave it for the engineer. You know, so he can give just for example, filter the bass, the low end, so it will always be mono and things like that. So it sits good on vinyl and on digital and things like that.
Yeah, you mean like the technical, the final technical touch-up.
Yeah, for pressing. Yeah.
What about you, Juan?
I don't master my own music. I work with many people in the years. It's always like quite an experience, you know, when you get the mastering delivered. Tadeo never mastered my music, I think. Maybe 2021, 2020 we forget about it. But yeah, I mean, I really like working with other people or visiting like mastering people. There's always some learning to be done. I don't know you, Tadeo. I know you do masters. For me, it's quite normal to ask for a second version. I think I will at some point. I will end up in some sort of mastering blacklist or something.
No,
okay, then we try one more version.
No, but it's important to have different versions,
Of course,
especially at the beginning when you start to working with somebody. You need to know what he wants, what he expects, and need times for know the other people and in any way anticipate to the expectation of the client in this case, not. And for me, for example, it's not a problem to do different versions. Not 5 or 6, of course.
Yeah, that would be too much.
Yeah, but for me, it's part of the process in the business to know my client and try to offer the best sound on the best product possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
It-
I
it's
think that.
Tell me.
No, I mean, I have no specific knowledge about mastering, but I'm normally happy. Is there anything remotely close to additive or subtractive applied to mastering? Because I'm normally happy. I I really don't like when in mastering I feel like I'm losing something of the track, like Steve said. But of course, I want my track to sound better. So I normally happy when I don't know if we want to push the high end. I want the high end to be pushed. I don't want the low end to be like taken down. I know it can sound like the same thing, but I think it's very different things.
Yeah, so sometimes you lose something on the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you
Yeah.
have to lose something. Of
Yeah,
course,
but
so.
that's just it's a problem that can come from the beginning. You are artist must to inform to the mastering engineer about what you expect, what you need. For example, if your track is so loud, you need more high ends. Please tell first to the master engineer. I have my way of work is try to at the beginning try to do a transparent mastering.
Mhm.
Without introducing your own sound, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to introduce my sound mastering because I think that the artist and the mixer engineer or the same guy is have a clear idea and they are working in a texture in a vibe in a complexity in the track, and I can destroy that. That's really unpolite to do that. Because mastering is not about to obtain a new texture, a new message. It's about to put the track in a standard of the industry for pressing, for streaming, for
Yeah.
a lot of things. When this point is clear, and all the people is agree about that, perhaps we can go more forward and start to change things all the time, having communication with the artist,
Yeah.
So you
never
mean-
destroying.
So your main objective is to make the tracks translate well over all the systems that people might listen to.
Yes.
And second would be if the client wants to add vibe or to change the texture in such a way that they feel
Yeah.
represents the original idea a bit better or something.
Yes and not, because sometimes that's the idea. But sometimes I've received some tracks that have too much low end, or perhaps don't have. And always I write to the artist and ask about that sensation, especially because perhaps the music can be developed in an incorrect room with a lot of reflections or too much bass in the room or something, and you can detect this different kind of balance in the music, but never use, for example, as you say, use subtractive EQs for change possible fails or errors. That perhaps this is part of your music.
Yeah.
No, I do changes, but in a big perspective, not in the little details.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I understand what you mean. Okay. So you really feel the job of a mastering engineer is a technical one more than a creative one then.
Yeah, and it's really difficult for me mastering to myself.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? Because there's always something. If you made a track, you had a certain intention and a certain idea, and then as we all know, during during the production of music, there are always trade-offs. You cancel one thing because some other thing needs to get more space, or to it resonates in a certain way, and the levels between different instruments are very delicate as well in that case, because changing 1 dB on something might completely make the track fall apart, or make the track sound totally different. And then at some point you are proud, or you are attached to a certain setting, and then comes the moment where you have to master it and make another trade-off. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a kind of fight with yourself.
Yeah. Conversations with yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That's the only time when you make 5 or 6 versions, right?
Yeah, it's like the technical part and the artist part, and part two. No, that's better. That's better. Man, yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, Mike says that he always asks the mastering engineer before he starts working if he hears any difficulties, because yes, it's better to clean it up in the studio in the multi-track than trying to have it fixed by a mastering engineer, which is not really their job. I mean, it's the ultimate sort of last resort kind of thing, but it's easier to fix it in the studio and send them a new version. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, people, it's almost 2 hours now. Maybe
Oh.
let's see if there's anything from the people in the chat that they think we should cover, or would like to ask us in particular. Any questions to any of the artists in particular here? Here we go. There's a first one for Juan. How much bass did you sacrifice in Ahora?
Ahora.
I think none of it. I don't know. I normally like to push like every frequency up to a limit without being too much, you know. So I think that particular track has like a kick with a lot of top end or mid range. So you know it will like make a contrast, because the bass line was quite intense. So I didn't want to put like a bass that contributed to like having more bass. I wanted the bass line to do the bass and the kick drum to be more mid-range. I think that, I mean, sometimes that's a good trick, you know, to have a lot without being too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a trade-off, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah. Let me see. I saw one other one about your speakers again, Miguel.
Yeah.
What do you think about them? Yeah, because they are old. I mean, there's so many choices of monitors. Why did you choose these particular speakers? Have you had them for a long time, or is there a certain thing about the sound you like?
No, I don't like to match the sound, but I think are really useful.
Mm-hmm.
About to listen how try to emulate the another places totally different than this studio. Anyway, the speakers sounds different. It depends the amplifier that you use, and sound really hi-fi, but a kind of all hi-fi, because the cone is paper cone. It's not metallic or something like that. You can obtain a kind of 17s sound.
70s. You like disco,
70s.
disco, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't use for electronic music. It's only for mastering work of disco, rock, pop, and that.
Okay. They look beautiful though. I really like the way they look. Never listened to them. I never tried them, but yeah, they look great. Okay. So anybody wants to plug anything? Any releases that are coming out soon, or anything that you're working on and you want to bring under the attention of the people right now? What about you, Steve?
I have a lot of music coming up. I would focus more on my label. I'm focused more on my label now, and trying to release my music through that. But there's always music coming on, and especially now because that we are stuck at home. Well, I am. I know I am. I think I have already like 6 EPs coming up in
Oh, wow.
vinyl. Yeah, for this year, and because I had to focus on music after I was like 3 months not going out.
So can you
On the
point
street.
everyone in the direction where they should be able to get it or listen to it? Do you have a
Yeah, I
Bandcamp
think
page?
sorry.
Do you have a Bandcamp page?
Oh yeah, I have under my name and under my label, Muted Records.
Cool.
But I think the best way to find the artist is going to like DJ DA shop.
Mm.
All my music is there.
Cool. Well, that's good that you have been able to make this a productive time.
Yeah, I had to focus. Yeah, yeah.
What about you,
Because
Juan? Oh, sorry.
No, because you can't do anything, in these
Yeah.
times. You can't play. So I'm also a single dad, so I live with my kids, and there's nothing else to do if you can't go out with a 5-year kid. So I'll focus on music, always making music.
Does he join you in the studio?
Oh yes, he loves it. Yeah,
Nice one.
I don't think he likes techno because he's only 5 years old, but he likes
When is the first co-production coming out?
with him.
Yeah.
No, he's too young for that. I let him play with iPad and football and things like that for now. There's a period in time for everything, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's too young, 5
Very
years
true.
old.
Yeah.
But he likes to play with the knobs,
Yeah.
and come, shake. That's normal.
Cool. What about you, Juan? Anything on your shelves?
Well, I just released one record on Mord
Yeah.
from your town, and on Mindtap as well on my label. I also, well, I'm a single, so imagine how much music I had the time to do, during lockdowns. I really did a lot. So I created a new label that I will launch next month. That it's only music that I've done during this past couple of months. So yeah, I will announce it next week, but it will be like a limited series. I think with this lockdown, one of the things I wanted to create is different kind of labels that has a beginning and an end,
Like
more or
projects.
less. More or less
Yeah.
thinking of like instead of releasing a double album, I want to make like limited amounts of releases that connects in the music with the gear I use and the way, and especially at the time that I produce them, put them all together and create like a specific new label and then create another one, hopefully.
Do you have the feeling that your approach has changed at all because of the period where we are in now? Is it still as functional as your other music, or have you kind of branched out to other kinds of sounds?
At the moment, I'm working on something different from techno, but so far, like 90% of it, I felt actually even like more in the dance floor in a way. Like most people say, when I get to a club, I get the vibe of the club. For me, normally when I get to a club, I have a great fun and it's perfect, but then I want to a little bit get away of that in the studio, at least for a couple of days. I think, I'm still quite focused on the dance floor, but the lack of being on a dance floor for so many months kept me like motivated to make even more techno.
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. And you, Miguel, you've got some projects coming out or working on something interesting at the moment?
Yes and no. I continue working new tracks, and I'm waiting response for some labels about some tracks also for that. But it's really difficult now with the COVID topic to the releases, all this 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 moment is difficult. But also I have an ambient project about
Oh,
to but I'm still working on it. Also, I'm working with Orbe. Do you know Orbe?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Spain, right?
Yeah, he's from Spain. And we are working some tracks without any idea about to release, but finally it will be released, of course. I'm sure. But it's interesting. It's interesting because in the past I have been working with other people, and in this time, that moment, I feel something really, really familiar with him. I don't need to talk about music, just put together and start to record something, and everything goes good. Yeah, it's like
Cool.
nice feeling between them.
Cool. That sounds great. Okay, guys. Well, it's 2 hours now. Is there anything you want to do to add or shout out to anyone? I'm gonna shout out to the people in the chat, all our regular watchers and stream punks and everybody who's there, friends from all over the world who've watched. Thank you very much.
Thank
And,
you. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for hanging out, guys. It was really a lot of fun, and
Thank you.
good luck with everything, and hope to see you again
You
soon.
too.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay,
A pleasure.
ciao.